everyone. How are you guys doing tonight? Welcome to KBBU Behind the Scenes. That's Kingdom Builders Business University. If you're watching us for the very first time, we are so excited that you are watching. Go ahead right now and subscribe to that KB Michelle Green YouTube channel and share that with a friend. Let somebody know that we are live and we are talking about entrepreneurship tips. That's right. We talk about the education from having our undergraduate class tonight on business systems. And tonight we are catering to the systems of coaching and what else? And curriculums. I was just waiting for one of y'all coaches to jump in. So this is the KBBU team. Now, not all of us are here tonight, but we just want to give a shout out to those who are absent. We got Coach Yoshi. We also have Coach Dr. Mary. We have Coach Dr. Tina. And we have Coach Preston, Coach Doris, and Coach Cornell, who is here tonight. So everybody say hello. Yes. So yes, like we said, tonight we got into the business systems from the perspective of, do you need to be a coach and do you need to have a curriculum? Okay, so let's talk about it. What do y'all want to say? Now, Doris, I know you had something that you were wanting to say in the class before we stopped. So do you remember what it was that you wanted to share? Maybe we can share it with these billions of people who are watching us through the CTR Media Network. Hey!
Yeah, no, I was just gonna drop some gems or give some other resource for. I really love how you mention and how you lay out in your curriculum, Michelle, how you lay out the different systems, the different tools out there. And I like the fact that you mentioned, depending on your field, you can resonate better with a system that works, for you, depending on what it is that you do, that you don't have to go, you don't have to necessarily get a system. Like for example, one of the system you were talking about, what was one of the system? Thinkific, you were sharing. Just because KBBU uses that system doesn't mean that's the same system that will work. And honestly, being in that place right now, trying to see, because you have to start thinking big. You have to
Yes.
start thinking broad. Especially when God has given you this vision. This vision was not meant for just your circle of people.
Oh,
It you need to expand and know that this is something that's supposed to reach millions of people. And when you start understanding from that perspective, now the start coming in and you start getting more understanding, more knowledge on, oh, how can I improve? How can I, do things a particular way, a way that if something were to happen to me, how will my team be able to still run with the vision? How can I leave this as a legacy? This is all good and valuable information. And I really appreciate that, Michelle, because now people are thinking outside of the box, especially,
yes.
yes, being in this new generation. Now if you look at Gen Z, they are already have gone far. Like, if the million the the status of millionaire now is like nothing with,
Yes.
because they're thinking beyond. We just looking at our little ideas right now, or the little things that we have, and we're thinking, oh my gosh, it's too much. And this generation, they're not playing. I look I look at a country. You look at country like Nigeria.
Uh-huh.
Nigeria in Africa, they're coming on top. If you look at the
Yes.
different industry. Like there are a lot of young people that have hit that millionaire status because why? They are using the tools, the technology that they have in hands. They are not allowing any sort of limitation to stop them. There's no such thing as limitations anymore for the
That's
Gen Z.
right.
Like there is no such thing. So they are just like boom, 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 going and seeing like what's going on in the market, what's going on here. They are on their feet. And so we have to learn. The Bible says you know, as children of the most high, as Christians, we are reading the word, we are missing a fundamental piece. And when that piece is really understanding how things is structured, we need to
Mm-hmm.
learn from the world because the world is using these principles and they are becoming really they are making the money. So they got your money. So need to
And
really, yeah, sorry, go ahead.
no, you're good. You're good. So I was just thinking, as you were talking about the actual class tonight and how our mindset really has to change from just ordinary business and not really educating our people, like our clientele, around our business. And what you're saying, Doris, it makes so much sense because that's what the whole class really is about, understanding how to get out of the box, how to get out of just your regular routine of being a business owner, and transitioning your business to not just operate with your products and services, but to extend your products and services that you already have from an educational system platform. So that is what we have been talking about tonight in the class. And I'm not giving out like all of the nuggets, but I will give you something. For example, if you are coaching, what kind of system are you coaching through? And then not only that, if you decide that you want to create a curriculum around what it is that you do, what kind of system are you using for that? So when you said that I gave the availability for our students tonight to be able to use whatever system they want to choose, that is a big thing. See, most people will want you to be limited to just what it is that they are using because they know that the system works through whatever they use, but every business is not in the same industry. So why in the world would we want to confine people to just one way of doing things? So it does take the limitations off your mind from being a business owner of old school and, oh, I'm used to doing things only one way, to opening up a whole livelihood of life that is completely unlimited to the things that you can educate people in through a coaching system, is in addition to being able to put together a whole curriculum for the things that you know. Why is that so important? Like you were saying, it's important because the world is changing. The world is not only changing, but you talking about Gen Z. What's the latest one? The Alpha generation?
Oh my
I think
gosh.
it's the alpha generation, my son.
Yes.
Okay, so we think about their mindset and the fact that they are always in the limelight of someone educating them on something related to something in the media. And even though we haven't even started our marketing, media, and sales course yet with Dr. Tina J. Ramsey, which is one of our coaches, and also Coach Yoshi, we haven't even started the course yet, but we got to begin to take a look at the systems that are catered around the things that we need to establish now in business, because if we don't establish them today, we're going to be left behind. And just like you're saying, like, what are people doing these days? People are jumping on top of getting in front of a camera and being able to teach what it is that they know. And even if they don't know it right, I mean, a lot of us that are business owners, we are experts at what we do. We are people who are really catered around, we're very strategic. We know what it is that we've been doing because we've been doing it for a long time, but we aren't telling anybody from an educational perspective of coaching about any of it. We're just kind of like, okay, well, I got my business and people need to come to me because I'm the expert. But How would they know that you're the expert if you don't ever have that many clients, or if you have a lot of clients but you don't provide a curriculum for them to go by step, stage by stage? Like what is that? How is that going to really impact the people? So when we think about course curriculum, when we think about a coaching system, we really got to take that thing serious, because like you said, the alpha generation, the Gen Z, and all the other different generations, how can they merge with the middle age and the elderly? How can they merge their organizations with this whole world and make $1 million like it's a dollar? I mean, honestly, truthfully, in today's society, $100,000 to be a six-figure earner, 100,000 to 250, or even I would say less than half a million, you really ain't making that much money. Not with inflation, in a way that inflation has changed. You're really not making that much money. So we're talking about how you can move your business to the millions and the billions and even trillions of dollars through systems. It is so crucial for you to be able to engage in what is happening today. All right, Preston, you look like you wanted to say something about the systems, like the AI or something. What you got for us tonight?
I'm just getting my thoughts together. It was had a good day. I was out there doing some yard work, but I was thinking about school as well. I started to call you earlier and just to touch base, but it's the adaptability. When Doris was talking, that word came to my mind. It's adaptability. You know, what you learn, how you learn, and then like the best way I found out to find out what you know is when you can teach somebody. So that's when you say the courses and everything come in. You know, you can have all the knowledge in the world, but if you're not utilizing that knowledge for your betterment or anybody else's betterment, and in this case, for some profit or some revenue, you know, don't let it go to waste. And that's what you've been teaching. That's what I've been listening to, and that's what you've been teaching throughout these courses. That's what we all been, you know, giving our nuggets and our tidbits, you know, and our KBBUisms. That's what I call it, you know. But yeah,
I love it.
like I got my degree, but that didn't mean my journey to learning was complete, you know. Like every
Right.
day you can learn something new. Every day you have an opportunity. For everybody listen, every day you have an opportunity to scan this QR code, hit this website, call that number, and get on this KBBU journey with us. All right. That's the opportunity that we're talking about right now. But as for tonight's lesson, you gave a culmination of everything that you know and how to process that knowledge into, you know, business. I say business acuity, you know, tangible, you know, resources. Don't just get the knowledge and sit
Yes.
on it. Don't do it out there, get your master's degree and hang it up on the wall next to your bachelor's degree. You gotta do something with that, you know?
That's right. That's right. I love it. I love it. Adaptability to the changes that are happening every day. I mean,
Yeah.
I remember a time when we could just be a business owner, and if we had a good product or service, that we were good to go. We didn't have to worry about nothing. All we had to do was word of mouth, go ahead and spread that wisdom, you know, of whatever, not necessarily even wisdom, just the fact that we had a good product or a service, and we would tell one person, would tell another person, would tell another person, and before you know it, our businesses would grow and flourish. But in today's society, it is a whole different arena. We got artificial intelligence in the equation. We got new technology. Most of us are having to go to some type of digital services or products. We are in a whole different arena in as a business owner. And so if we're not, like you say, adapting to the changes that are happening in today's society, we will be left behind. Okay, y'all remember that movie Left Behind? It's really a real thing. And like we're saying, you do want to have your core foundations and make sure your business is structured properly. But not only do you want to have the business structured properly, first of all, you better have a business in today's time. Let me just say that. You better have something on the side in today's society so that you can really be able to grow and flourish and leave a legacy for your family. But not just working a job, because that ain't cutting it. Two people working one job, two people working two jobs. That ain't cutting it these days. You got to have something extra. So that's the first thing. And then once you get that structure in place, you got to be able to adapt to the times. What are the times in today's society? People are doing things virtually. People are going online. They're teaching, and they're teaching because there's nobody really teaching the kids. There's nobody really teaching the young adults. They don't have to, the only sources they have to learn from something is basically YouTube or some type of social media. And everybody's streaming now. I remember the time you talk about adaptability where we had cable television, even though we still have it today. I mean, what happened from the adaptability? You know, for people who were watching the stream, who are now watching streaming services versus the time when we had cable TV. I mean, it's totally changed. Nobody has cable TV now, you know, or a very small amount of people. You know, even businesses, they just clicking on the apps and using the apps. They're not even paying for streaming services in their physical locations. So when it comes to changes and adaptability, we really got to understand that whatever it is that we are expert at, we got to get the word out. And we cannot get the word out faster than setting up some type of coaching program in addition to a curriculum that goes with that personal one-on-one time with your client. All right, I'm going to stop talking because I've been talking a lot. Let's hear from Coach Cornell because this is your arena, business and life management. He is our business and life management coach. All right, let's go. Let's go.
I just want to mention something on what Doris said. She's talking about people in Africa, Nigeria, I think.
Yeah.
They're using these systems and we're still behind. Well, we got to do better because right now I got a granddaughter. She's 6 years old, and she get on that little Ouija board or whatever. All of these systems, she can do anything on there, and I'm like, sometimes she hand it to me, and I'm like, well, what do you do? And I hand it back to her, and she's pat, 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 pat. I gotta get with the program. You know, Yoshi said something tonight about AI. He says that AI is making stuff a lot simpler, easier to do, and just putting together these systems. You know, the coaching system. You know, putting it with the curriculum system. There's a lot of things. There's a lot of systems out there, but we can't be scared of them. I don't want to give out too much information, but I grasped a lot tonight.
That's
Ma'am,
good.
I didn't, ma'am. What I'm trying to say is that I don't remember this in the class.
That's right. It wasn't in the class. It's never been in any of our courses. Why? Because, like what Preston just said,
Yeah.
it's the new time. It's the new season. It is time for us to do something new so that we can stay relevant. This class has never, ever been taught in the history of KBBU.
And it was taught beautifully.
Thank you.
And I tell you what, that's all I'm gonna say on that because you got to come to this class. You got to come to the class to get some of this. You know what I'm saying? So I guarantee ain't no other business school teaching what we're teaching right now. So come on, get some.
Thank you, Coach Cornell. I appreciate that. I'm so glad to know that not only the students in KBBU undergraduate class are learning, but our coaches are learning alongside the students. Like, where do you do that at? Only KBBU, baby. Only KBBU. That's where you do it at, okay? I'm so glad to hear that, Coach Cornell, because that is the purpose of KBBU. Even for myself, to learn a new lesson, a new curriculum that God has implemented in less than 30 minutes from the time that class is starting. Because that's when I put this class tonight together. Do you hear the words that are coming out of my mouth? So that's why there are never two classes that are exactly alike, no matter the topic. But this wasn't even a topic on the curriculum until tonight. This wasn't even something that we have ever talked about before. Why? Because we have to stay up to date with what's happening in the world. And in order for us as business owners to continue to flourish and grow and to have the abundance in our businesses, we got to know what is happening, and we got to be willing to make the shift. We got to be willing to make the change. We cannot be afraid, like you said, Coach Cornell. We got to be able to take the new information and be able to, even if we are afraid, we got to move forward. We got to make the change. And that's exactly what happened tonight. God said, okay, this is something that is very relevant, and the students need to know about it. The coaches need to understand. They got to put together some type of coaching plan about their organization. If you don't have a coaching business in today's time, you are literally being left behind, because everything is catered around an education. So what are you educating people to know how to do? How are you connecting the dots between the youth, between the teenagers and the young people in their 20s and 30s, and then your middle-aged people in their 40s and 50s, and then your elderly? How do you connect the dots with all of the different generations if you don't have a coaching system in place? You can't do it. You cannot do it, because not every business is centered around with their product or service around the same type of audience. But in an educational system, anybody can join your educational program. So if you are a coach, if you're teaching something, you can have a system where anybody can come in and everybody can be connected. And that's what tonight's class was all about. Even though it was a brand new off the rip class, we are already doing the education by talking to people. So why not put that in a professional system and get yourself to making some money that God promised you to make in the first place? That's what it's all about, y'all. All right. And last but not least, can we hear from Coach Yoshi? He done popped up in the room. Okay. Hey.
Can y'all hear me?
Yes, sir.
All right. So sorry if there's a little fan noise in the background.
You good?
All right. So first thing I wanted to touch on was about is that I think what most people, what hurts when we hit most people is the word change. Change and adaptation, fear make people afraid. So, but adaptation and change, the words combined equals growth. So we say growth instead of change, a person look at it different. But in the reality, growth is change. I'm not who I was when I was 5 years old. The Bible says, as a child, I thought as a child, I acted as a child. As I became a man, I put away childish things. So if I think the same way as I did as a child, then I would not be able to function as an adult. As a child, I would not be able to survive in this world. I can't sit around and play with my toys all day because I ain't got to pay bills. I got to pay bills. I got to pay light bills. I got to take care of my kids. Do it. But as a child, I had no worries. I had no cares. I had no concern. So as I grew up and as I grown, I adapted and it changed into my manhood and we're able to adapt to society to be the person that I need. So we quit saying like, so if you look at the other part of what the chat GPA, the coaching and stuff that you brought forth, instead of looking at it as change, and we're looking at it as we growing. Our mind's growing, our business is growing, our spirit is growing. So because of that, it comes with more knowledge and understanding. A lot of people look at what you think about it in the Bible and the spiritual, because you said earlier in class that as believers, most of the time we are the last ones to get on. And I understand because
yes, we are.
We got to be cautious of the things of this world. But the thing at the same time, the Bible also say the wealth of the wicked is up for the righteous. So we pray and we in our place and we in our steadfast ground. We shouldn't have concerns of those things. Because what's the season going to be able to give it the season, we're going to be able to use. The same way that the Israelites walked out of Egypt was not the same way the Israelites in the time when Yeshua, when the Messiah came in Rome. Time has changed. The process changed. They had to grow and develop and go. They ain't the same who they was in Egypt as they was in Rome. Even though they experience in their heart is, but the way that they develop and they change and they grow things. Me as an electrician, we have code books. We haven't had a new code book, so I think since 2021, like, you know what I'm saying, I think the code been the same. So now they
Wow.
bringing out a new code, starts in July, and it's gonna shake up the ground. And it's like,
Woo.
because the business money gonna increase, like things that what we didn't have to spend, where we could spend $5 breakers on the wire per house. Nah, they want us to put arc fault combination breaker. These breakers starts at $60 a breaker. So we're going from where $50 to $60. That's because they develop change. They see that safety in life with people is more better if they had an arc fault combination breaker, because it's able to seek out the faults in the wiring and help save, put less electrical fires. So because of that, I have to know that, because I have to put it in the code, and then my customers gonna feel it because the price gonna go up. But it's all about growth in life and goals. Nothing stays the same. Anything that stays like stagnant water, I always say anything that stays in stagnant water is nothing but mosquitoes and algae. You know what I'm saying? And disease, and it's infested, considered infested water. But when water flows and it hit against the rocks, it cleanses itself and it goes. So we hit ourselves, we bump heads, it's time to go. So it ain't about us losing our old morals or losing our old ways and everything. A business in the 1800 came to function the same way a business did in the 1900. And that's just simple facts. They didn't have telephone and communication. At one point, they were sending things through pigeons. Another point, they had horse carriages and they had to ride out through the horses. Now we got jet planes with UPS symbols on the side of it that can get us a whole package to Japan in a day. So with that, you can either set on the curve and fade away, or we could get with the program and we can grow with the things that's ahead of us.
Woo, that is awesome. Thank you so much for sharing that. And I was just thinking while you were actually talking about those different changes, I think that, like we've been saying, that we haven't really wrapped our minds around sitting in front of a camera or talking to people in a one-on-one session, because we have become so complacent in an instantaneous society that wants everything just handed to us. So we don't want to take the time out of our days to sit on the call with a client, turning on a camera, because we are used to being at home in our pajamas. Okay, I know it's comfortable, y'all. I know it's something that we love to do. But like you're saying, Coach Yoshi, the times are different. So with the times changing, and it's us being in this informational era and this new technology and artificial intelligence age, we got to understand that, hey, regardless of what we really want to do, which is be comfortable, but comfortable leads to brokenness, okay? Comfortable leads to being impoverished. So as a business owner that is leading other business owners, we have to stay up to date with what is going to put money in our pockets. And even though artificial intelligence is coming into the play and it is taking over some jobs, we got to understand how to utilize these systems for our benefit. So if you're not opening up your mouth and speaking and learning how to just put away your fears and your comfort, then that's going to cause you to stay, like you said, stagnated. It's going to cause you to stay in a place where you cannot excel. So what do we got to do? We got to change our comfort mindset. We got to get out of the mindset that we're just going to sit around and look any kind of way and expect somebody to drop something in our hands and us to do very little work for it. We have to shift to understand that the work ethic in the world, it hasn't changed. It's just shifted to a different system, a different way to get the same amount of money. But because we don't understand that it's not about the people who just say, okay, well, I'm going to sit on my butt and I'm going to do it this way. And then we got people who are working physical labor like you, Coach Yoshi, out there in Let There Be Light Electrical, and you're working physical labor, hard hours. But it doesn't mean that your business is any less. It just means that it's different. And so your approach to educating people will be in a different manner. It will have to come about in a different way. And you can't be mad at somebody that's sitting on their butt and doing a coaching session and making $2,500 just because it's a different way to make the money. You can't be mad because somebody turns on a camera and make over $100,000 in 1 hour. Oh yeah, I know people like that. And I'm telling you that it's real money. You can't be mad because somebody put together a curriculum around the education of their expertise, and they are making $500,000 by just selling an online course. You can't be mad at that because you have physical labor. I'm not saying you in particular, Coach Yoshi, but anybody who is still stuck in the past. We have to learn how to change. We cannot be comfortable with where we are because every single day the world is changing. If you cannot keep up with the times as a business owner, I'm telling you right now, then maybe you need to work for somebody else. And I don't knock working for somebody else because all of us are not designed to be entrepreneurs. Sometimes we might need to go back and get a job and get a high paying job at that and just build based on a independent contractor level. Do that. But you got to understand that you got to shift. And all of us have had some type of story or a journey as a business owner. Even if we're just starting out, there are entrepreneurship skills that we have been honing all of our life. Maybe we've seen somebody that was a role model for us and we picked up on, okay, well, I learned how to do this just by watching somebody who was a role model for me. Or maybe I just had a deep desire for being an entrepreneur and you don't even realize the kind of education that you have on the inside of you. So if you don't even know that, then why not begin to cultivate the things that you know? Write it down on paper. Let's look at it. Okay, you really are good at this particular thing. So take that gift, that skill, that talent, and get out of your comfort zone of thinking that you have to do the physical labor and thinking that you have to do things only the way that you were originally taught to do it, and get into the new way of doing things by using your mouth. When you use your mouth, because in the beginning was the word, and at the end of the day, the word is what's going to be. And even though we're talking about the word of God, we're talking about the fact that God gave us the ability to speak and be able to move mountains. So if you are a believer and you have any kind of faith, your faith comes by you believing and you speaking. Faith without works is dead. So you got to implement the word with the work. And the work does not necessarily mean that you have to do physical labor. You could be in the comfort of your home with a phone or a studio or setting up a camera and some good lighting and go to work and make millions. But if you don't accept the changes that are here today, then that's when you're going to miss out. So I'm telling you, as a head coach of Kingdom Builders Business University, I'm telling you that's just watching for the first time, you don't even know who we are. I'm telling you, if you're thinking about entrepreneurship, if you are an entrepreneur right now, if you've been in business for a long time and things are just not the way that you want them to be, it is the root issue of not willing to change and get outside of your comfort zone. Regardless of how fearful it may seem, you can do it being scared. You can do what you do being scared. You can educate someone in a coaching program. Not only can you do that, you can also do this through a curriculum. Put the process together. What is step one? If you own a bike and you love bikes, and you can take a bike apart and you can put it back together, take the step one. What's the step one that has to be processed in order for you to get to the end result? Put it together in a curriculum, turn on that phone camera and get yourself out there and start coaching and putting together some courses where people can pay for your expertise, for your knowledge. That's what we got to do. And if you need some help with all of the business stuff, then guess what you got to do? Go to that website that you see down below, www.kbbulllc.com. Give us a call. Click on the link that says Let's Talk, and we will get you scheduled in our system so that we can help you to do business the right way. Go ahead, Coach Yoshi. You got something else.
Yeah. You inspired me. You inspired me. So I got to jump off what you said. I'm gonna be like Dr. Tina. Let me piggyback off of here.
All right,
Preston,
go
how
ahead and
Preston be
speak for
doing?
her tonight.
I'm gonna hate the Preston. I'm hate the Preston. Let me jump off. Let me alley oop. You got me alley oop the Preston. All right, but like I say, like when you first, doing the same thing over and over and expecting a different result is called insanity. That's a known
Yeah,
fact.
it is.
We're gonna start with that. Second thing, a prime example of when time happens and change, crisis in life. Like I think back when you think back in the history of the Bible in Egypt, when Joseph had the vision and when the Pharaoh had the dream and Joseph interpreted because a great drought was going to come. Joseph had to change the way that they harvest and store more food into the storehouse. If he didn't transition and make the change of the knowledge that the Father gave him, the wisdom and the understanding that the Father, all wisdom and knowledge come from my Heavenly Father. So the knowledge that the Father gave him was able to save generations and make Egypt one of the most powerful nations at that time. Now let's fast forward to how they can relate to us. When COVID dropped, how many
Woo!
businesses died when COVID came?
I'm
How
trying to
many
tell
businesses
you.
that shut down to this day and
I was
affected
gonna
because of
say,
COVID? And so many companies got destroyed because they didn't know how to adapt to a situation, to a term that you cannot leave and go. So if you don't adapt and change, then you get Thanos and race, snap of a finger, you're gone. Because at that moment,
oh,
Uh-oh, we lost him. Okay, but basically what he's saying is just like what happened with KBBU. In 2018, we started KBBU. KBBU was an in-person 4-week course for entrepreneurs that could come into our office physically. And we did have a streaming service so that we could actually talk to the customers that wanted to come on the virtual system. But we didn't really think a lot about that until COVID happened. And in 2020, 2 years later, I will tell you that the system that we were using for meeting in person, meeting at the office during business hours, where entrepreneurs were actually having to do their job, was not a good idea. Okay, it wasn't a good idea for me because I was missing business, and it wasn't a good idea for the others because they were missing business. But the thing is that when you talk about when COVID happened, KBBU became like thebomb.com in 2020 because we adapted to the change. We adapted to the change because we saw that everything was virtual. And I was like, well, wait a minute, I got a virtual system. So let's go ahead and start doing some virtual seminars. And then we attracted some people by doing the virtual seminars. And next thing you know, we decided to do a whole school. And what is a school but a curriculum? Okay, so there's a curriculum that we put together by God's help. And here we are today, 5 years later, doing the thing, making the money, doing what it is that we do with coaches and people from all industries, helping hundreds of students and thousands of people and millions of people all over the world. That's what we're doing. So he's absolutely right. And he's also back. So you want to finish your thought process? Uh-oh, he out again. So never mind. All right, but basically what he was saying since COVID, yeah, that's the thing that happened. And Doris, you got something you want to share before we close out tonight?
yeah, just quickly, like, basically, I was gonna mention that as well. Like, if you look at other stores that recently closed, because of the change, how when Amazon came in the picture and offering 3 days, 2 days shipping, and just the transition, other business, they felt like, okay, we were done for, and because they didn't
Yes.
transition, they were actually done for. And it's just interesting because now with AI, you have everything. I just discovered today, AI is not just about business, but your personal life. School
Yes, it
system,
is.
children are using AI to help them in their curriculum, to help them. So just providing, like what you were saying, Michelle, just providing its service is not going to cut it. You have to find a way how you can also leverage your knowledge, learn more through AI, and be able to include that in your service. as a coach or as a coaching that have basically having some sort of a coaching material
Yes.
or a curriculum, like you said. And that's where a lot of people are starting to fail, because it's like, okay, we have to do it. If AI takes my job, what can I do? No, you have to get on the train. You cannot let it
Bored.
get on board, right? And even in my this week, I had a training. I had a client appointment, and we were using one system. That system was not working, and the light bulb came on, and I'm like, hold up, why am I sticking to this one system? Let me transition back to this other system, and boom, and it came on like, wait, I don't have to have one system. In case something
Right.
happened, I can, be able to easily adapt or move to using something else that works better for the client.
Right. Booyah. It's the flexibility. It's the
Yes.
flexibility of being able to scale your company and you don't miss a beat. I shared this example in the classroom tonight of where I had a private coaching session with a student that's actually in the class from tonight. And I was on the call with her on Webex doing the coaching call. And guess what? I had to go out. I had to leave the office and go out. So guess what I did? I just moved to a different device, which was my phone, with the same coaching system and continued to finish the call. I continued to finish that WebEx call with that coaching session with that student because of the flexibility. That's what we got to look at, guys. Like you just said, Doris, if it was one system that wasn't using, but then you got another system that's a backup or an alternative, there's nothing wrong with you changing the system. There's nothing wrong with you using something that's going to be more beneficial. That's what scaling is all about. People try to make it so complicated. Oh, it's only one way of doing things. No, it's multiple ways. That's why we're business owners, because everybody got their own secret sauce of how to use certain systems that are beneficial for their industry. So don't get locked into the wrong thing. Understand that the world is open to you and you got to learn how to utilize it. Okay? And Coach Yoshi, since you're back, go ahead and just share what you want to wrap up for tonight. And hopefully, Coach Cornell and Preston, did y'all want to say anything else or y'all good? Y'all good? Okay. All right. So take us on home, Coach Yoshi, and then we'll close out for tonight.
Yeah, like I was saying before, somebody tried to call. I was on the phone. Technology advancing. My computer updated,
Exactly.
but because my computer updated, I was able to adapt to my cell phone and to somebody call, which was which makes funny. Made me think about internet. I remember when dial-up internet was when we had to do AOL dial-up internet. And you be on the internet and you only doing some important paper or whatever, then somebody call that house phone and cut your internet completely off back in the day.
That's
Technology,
right.
we didn't have Wi-Fi or anything on that. But what I was like to say, but just to wrap it up, what I was saying, like businesses, everything said we did died through COVID because companies wasn't able to change. But then I saw a thing about restaurants and things. Some restaurants made majority of their money off of bars. So then what did they do? They found a way, a loophole in the system to be able to sell alcohol without through DoorDash, without putting a seal on the cup. The cup can't be opened. It's a sealed cup, and then they were able to still do that to make their money on that part. So when it comes to advancing everything, as long as we stay connected and grounded with our Father, we connected to good places like KBBU, understanding and wisdom and knowledge. He never gonna leave us blind. Like that's what always kept his people above. The thing that made people survive in the old days was wisdom and knowledge and understanding of your surroundings. It was the knowledge that kept you safe. It was the knowledge of firepower that made wars different from when the pilgrims from the Indians. The Indians they don't mean the Indians was less fierce warriors, doesn't mean that they wasn't good and stuff on it. What made them easily overcome? The technology and the knowledge and the advancement that the pilgrims and the settlements was able to do to come in. Now, do I mean we kick out all the stuff? No, you never throw the baby out with the bathwater. Some old knowledge and some old technology thing are beautiful things that we keep in place. And that's still our core. Like Michelle's business, our school, the core foundation is our Heavenly Father. She ain't advanced and change it to no scientific technology school of worship like Tom Cruise or anybody else. Her foundation is her foundation. So once you know your foundation and you set on your foundation, the things around you will work for you instead of against you. And that's what I was trying to wrap.
That's it right there. I love
Ma'am,
it.
give
I
me
love
15
it.
seconds.
Yes, sir. Let's go.
Okay, if your business is boxing and you 20-0, you slaying people, you're knocking them out. But then your next match, you get knocked out. You don't come back with the same stuff. If you want a rematch, you got to change. You got to do something different. That's all I got to say.
Hey, in the Rocky movies, Coach. Hey, you think about the Rocky movies. Every time in Rocky movie, he trained with a different trainer. Every movie, he trained with a different trainer. He had his one trainer, and then when he fought Mr. T about to put them paws on him, he had to learn how to move his feet good, so he had to train with Apollo. And then when he fought the Russian, he had to go out there and fight meat and run up mountains. Every time, he had a transition and growth from the advance his knowledge and technology.
I love
Can I get
it.
one
I love
tidbit?
it.
One
Right
fast
now,
tidbit.
I thought y'all didn't have nothing to say. That's what I'm talking about. Go ahead and
Okay,
be inspired, Preston.
mine will
Go
be
ahead.
quick. I said this before, but I was going to reiterate it. Netflix and Blockbuster both used to have physical media. Netflix saw the handwriting on the wall, and they went to streaming services. Blockbuster didn't, and we see the result of that.
You are absolutely right.
Polaroid didn't think digital imagery was going to be a thing, and you see with that, right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Again, digital services.
They didn't adapt. They didn't adapt.
They did not adapt, but that's what we have for tonight. I hope that you got some real good nuggets from tonight's behind the scenes, because what we are catering to is everything that we teach our students in the undergraduate class, and even all of us as business owners and our journeys and the things that we have been through, the education that we have from different perspectives. Y'all heard it tonight from different angles. Everybody has a different way of doing things, but we can still all win if we understand the overall goal, and that is for every one of us to excel and have the abundance that God has prepared for us. So thank you again for watching. Make sure that you are subscribed to the KB Michelle Green YouTube channel that is powered by the CTR Media Network. Shout out to Dr. Tina. She is not here tonight. And Dr. Mary, we love you guys. Thank you all. We'll see you next Wednesday from 9:30 until at KBBU Behind the Scenes. Everybody have a blessed night. Bye-bye.